Manchester United 1, Lyon 0. The 100% record continues in pre-season at the moment. And a bit like that first game in Oslo, this time in Edinburgh in Scotland, it was a tale of two halves. It's always going to be, of course, when you've got two different sides essentially playing. You've got the sort of more senior players in the first half and then the more younger players mixed with a couple of senior pros in there in the second half. And really, it's the second half side that shines and the second half side that actually makes Man United win that game. A goal from Donny van de Beek. His first game, of course, in however many months has it been? 7 months like that? 8? 6? 7? 7? 8 months. The point being is Donny gets the goal. Good for him, certainly. Let's talk about the game in a more linear fashion, starting off with that first half. United played very well in the first half, certainly for the first 20 minutes, maybe not the entirety of the half, but the first 20 minutes, they were electric. They should have been 4-5-0 up with chances from Sancho, Anthony, Ahmad, all having opportunities. Ahmad pulling off a save from the goalkeeper in the end. Anthony had a really good chance after a few seconds. And to be honest, that first sort of 20 minutes in the first half really encapsulated everything from Manchester United throughout last season. Great build-up play, winning the ball high up the pitch, intensity, impressive stuff, but can't put the ball in the back of the net. No composure, no sort of ice in the vein moments in front of the goalkeeper, and that's what really can cost you. And it's pre-season, so you don't want to make too much of a drama over things. You don't want to be too over dramatic or anything like that, but it really, to me, reflected again what happened to us last season. We had some games, particularly those away games, and a lot's been made of our form away from home in the Premier League last season and how we were so good at home that it kind of got us over the line when it came to finishing third in the league. But there were games away from home, I think of Spurs, I think of West Ham, I think even that game when we lost to Liverpool 7-0 and Newcastle when we lost 2-0, that we had chances early on in the game and we started quickly and we had opportunities and we didn't take them and we fluffed our lines, or we just didn't have the composure in front of goal. And when you do that, it allows the opposition side, regardless of how well or badly they're playing, to get into the game. And eventually they go, oh, we didn't start well, but it's still 0-0. And that's really what happened with Lyon in that game. Towards the end of the half, not that we were waiting for half-time by any means, but they had a couple of opportunities, a couple of scary moments. Kovar started in goal. He really had nothing to do at all. But what he did do, he had nothing to do in terms of making saves, but he had nothing to do in terms of as I mentioned, making saves, but his distribution was good and his passing out from the back was good, claimed a few crosses, and he in fact played the entire 90 minutes and I thought he did well. But Lyon got into the game a little bit there. The other players, you were looking at the midfield, Kobbie Mainoo did okay, maybe not as well as he did against Leeds. Hannibal, again, maybe not as well as he did against Leeds, but he did fine. Mason Mount was a bit quieter than he was against Leeds, but on the whole, did okay. The build-up play was good, winning the ball high up the pitch. Defensively, okay, a couple of shaky moments from playing out from the back. That's going to happen with Varane and Martinez. I thought Martinez actually looked really sharp. But again, no sort of clinical nature, no sort of cutting edge from players that they're going to have to improve on that. Sancho, Anthony in particular, he was interchanging a lot with Ahmad, playing on the left and the right. They both switched quite a lot and they created chances, but you just need to be more clinical, and that's really what they weren't in the first half. Second half, obviously, we had all of the changes being made. We had 10 changes. The only change that wasn't made was the goalkeeper, Kovar, who we'll talk about it more in depth a bit later on. And immediately in the second half, near enough, Manchester United go 1-0 up. Donny van de Beek, first game in such a long period of time after he suffered that injury, that season-ending injury earlier on this year. And you could just see the relief. You could just see how happy he was not only to be playing, but getting back on the score sheet and building his career back up. That's really where Donny's at the moment. I think people forget that. Just because he scored today, his Manchester United career for me is near enough over anyway. What he needs, what's best for him and best for United, but more importantly best for him, is a move away from the club. He needs to be playing regularly. He needs to build back up his career, because I feel bad for him because his move to United has killed a lot of things off when it comes to a career that was blossoming. He was playing at an international level. He was always in the international squads. Maybe not so much now. He's missed out on major tournaments. Yes, he's had injuries. He's had a major injury last season or this year. He had an injury when he was on loan at Everton that really cut that one short. And he's gone through several different managers in Ollie and Ralph and now Ten Hag, and not really had that first team football for whatever reason, whether it's not being able to adjust to the league, just not being suited to Man United, whatever it may be, it's just not worked out for him. And I feel bad for him for that, but this is the beginning of the rebuild when it comes to him and his career. Just because he scored today, I don't think he stays at United. I think he should go still. We need to raise funds. But I was glad to see him get on the score sheet, and you could see, again, what it meant to him. I think probably the player that I would give man of the match to, in all honesty, would be Gore. Gore! Not only did he get the assist for Donny van de Beek in that second half, but also he was just sensational. He was all over the pitch, winning the ball in high positions, also coming deep to win the ball. His passing range really was actually what impressed me the most. There were a couple of times real good passes between the lines. He was really the standout of not only the team in the second half, but actually probably the entire game. He was the one player that I'd come away from and go, wow, that was really, really impressive. And again, I know that's going to lead to some of the reactions in the comment section below saying, this is what's wrong with United. What, you think Dan Gore is going to play every game for Manchester United this season? Of course I don't. No, he's definitely not going to. But in terms of, he had an opportunity today, and I think he took it. He got an assist, and he played well, and good for him. And maybe that's going to lead to him playing more games on the tour for Manchester United in this upcoming tour of the United States. And if that's the case, good for him. I think I would also shout out Joe Hugel in the second half too. I think that he just showed what it's like to play with a striker. Again, he's not going to be starting games for Manchester United in the Premier League or anything like that, but it just highlights the need to play with that focal point up front, need to play with that person that can play as a number 9, that can play with their back to goal, that can make those runs that a forward does and not a false 9. Jadon Sancho's not used to that. And when we play in New York, New Jersey, at the MetLife Stadium this weekend against Arsenal, I would think Marcus Rashford probably starts up front, but we need more. We need more, and that's why we're in for Rasmus Højlund at the moment. Jonny Evans also played for Manchester United in the second half. Again, didn't have a ton to do, but what he did do, he did well. We'll see what happens when it comes to Jonny Evans. Again, I know that people are saying, this is embarrassing and all that stuff. He's going to be on the tour. He's going to play in San Diego against Wrexham. I don't know if he's going to be involved in some of the bigger games, but from what he had to do, he did fine. Again, it was just a typical pre-season game. Both halves started with intensity, with speed, with energy. And then as the game goes on and players get fatigued and tired because they haven't played a ton of football recently and there's a bit of rustiness, it starts to taper off. But 2 wins, not that the results matter too much, but 2 clean sheets as well. And finally, I mentioned about Kovar there. I think there's a real argument to be made that there's been all of this talk about bringing in a backup goalkeeper. Do we really need one? We've kind of got one already in Kovar that I think is a suitable number 2. Onana's in Manchester at the moment, just about to start his medical, so he's not going to be playing many games anyway, that number 2. But I think he's a real credible option. And again, he did have a ton to do, a couple of sloppy passes here and there. But he's young, and I think that's a credible option for Manchester United as a number 2. So pre-season continues with 2 victories. Now all eyes turn to the United States and the test of Arsenal at the weekend. Let me know your thoughts and your predictions in the comment section below. I'm out of here. Peace.